Hi students, how you doing? So we're going to be talking about factoring for day 2 here, or second day of factoring I should say. Alright, so our objective is to be able to factor trinomials. Remember, a trinomial is an expression with 3 terms. Alright, so if we're going to factor this out, remember from what we did last time, so always look to see if there's a GCF first. So there is no GCF here. So I set up my skeleton, I'm going to have a 1x and then a 1x. C value sign is positive, so I know both my terms are my B value signs, so they're both going to be positive. And then 12, well, we remember we're trying to get 13, so my first set of factors would be 1 and 12. Well, that will give you 13. So I'm done. All right, on number 2 here, we can take out a GCF of an x. So then I'm left with x squared minus 24x minus 72. And then I'm going to see if I can continue that. So I still have my x in front for the GCF. I'm going to have a 1x and a 1x. My signs have got to be opposite since my c value is negative. And then 72. So remember, our goal is to get a negative 24. So 72, well, you've got 1 and 72. You've got 2 and 36. You got 3 and 24. You got 4 and 18. Alright, you got 6 and 12, and you've got 8 and 9. So will any of those combinations when we add and subtract give us negative 24? No. So therefore, the only thing I can do is take out a GCF of an x. But I have factored because the x is the GCF, which stands for greatest common factor. So technically, I have factored. Alright, we take a look at the next set here. So we've got x squared plus 10x minus 56. So there's no GCF on this one, so we'll have an x and then an x. C value sign is negative, so that means my signs are opposites. And then 56, well, you've got 1 and 56. You've got 2 and 28. You've got 4 and 14. Boom, there's my combination. So we'd have to have a positive 14 and then a minus 4 to get a positive 10. All right, number 4, we're going to take out the GCF. They all have a 4x in common. So then I'm left with x squared minus 7x minus 18. All right, so let's see if I can keep going. So I've got my skeleton of an x and an x. C value sign is negative, so that means my signs are opposite. 18, well, let's see here. You got 1 and 18, you've got 2 and 9, and you've got 3 and 6. We want to get negative 7, so that's going to be the 2 and 9. So to get a negative 7, you'd have a negative 9 and a positive 2. Okay, so remember our rules here. We're going to factor out the GCF, make our parentheses that I call skeleton. We're going to list the factors of the first term, list the factors of the last term, and then draw our smiles. Okay, so my factors of 2 are going to be 2 and 1. So I always like to put the bigger one first. So I'm going to put the 2x here and then the 1x here. All right, my c value sign is, or my c value is 3. So the only factors of 3 are 1 and 3. So remember, we are going to multiply and then add these together to get a positive 5. So I know that one sign has to be negative, one sign has to be positive. So what I'm going to do here is sometimes you just got to do guess and check. So 1 and 3. Let's see what happens if I put the 1 here and then the negative 3 here. So 2 times negative 3 gives you negative 6. 1 times 1 gives you positive 1. 1 minus 6 gives you negative 5. What do we want to get? We want to get positive 5. So I have a negative 5, so that means the only thing I need to do is change my signs. So this needs to be a negative 1. This needs to be a positive 3. So 2 times 3 will give you positive 6. Negative 1 times 1 gives you negative 1, which gives you positive 5. So there's my factor. All right, take a look at the next set. No GCF here. So my A value is 3, so the only factors of 3 are 3 and 1. So I'm going to put the 3x first and the 1x second. 2, well, the only factors of 2 are 1 and 2. Now remember, I want to get a positive 5, or excuse me, a negative 5. So that means I need to put the negative 2 here because 3 times negative 2 gives you negative 6. I need to put the positive 1 here because 1 times 1 gives you positive 1, which gives you the negative 5. All right, take a look at the next one. Number 7, I can take out a GCF here. They all have a 3x in common. So when I factor out my 3x, I'm left with 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. And let's see if I can still factor. So I still have my 3x in front. My a value, my new a value is 2. So the only factors of 2 are 2 and 1. And then 5, the only factors of 5 are 1 and 5. Now remember, I want to get a positive 9 this time. So I'd have to take 2 times positive 5, which gives you 10, and then subtract the 1 here to get the 9. Good. All right, take a look at the next one. No GCF this time. A value is 2, so the only way I can get 2 is a 2x and a 1x. All right, C value sign's positive, so both my signs are my B values, so they're both going to be positive. 6, well, you've got 1 and 6, and you got 2 and 3. Remember, we want to get 7. So what I'm going to try is I'll do the 2 and 3. So if I put the 2 and 3, 2 times 3 will give you 6, plus 2 gives you 8. So nope, we didn't get 7. So let's switch them. Let's put the 3 here and the 2 here. That's going to give you 4. It's going to give you 3, which now that gives you 7. So these are the factors I need. Okay, take a look at 9. No GCF here. So I've got a 3x and then a 1x. My C value sign is negative, so that means my signs have to be opposite. That means one has to be positive, one has to be negative. I don't know where they go yet because my A value is 3 this time. So then 6, well, you got 1 and 6, and you got 2 and 3. Now, what do I want to get? I want to get 7, right? A positive 7. So let's see here. What numbers can I use? Let's go. We'll put let's do a positive 3 right here and a negative 2. So that's going to give me a negative 6, and that's going to give me a positive 3, which gives me negative 3. So nope, that didn't work. So let's switch them. Let's put a positive 3 right here. Whoops, sorry. Let's put a positive 2 right here and a negative 3. So that gives me negative 9. That gives me positive 2, which gives me negative 7. So I've got the right number, just the wrong sign. So the only thing I need to do here is flip my signs. So that means this needs to become a negative, and this needs to become a positive. Just double check that. That gives you 9, negative 2, which gives you 7. Good. All right, let's take a look at 10. No GCF again, other than 1, I should say. So we've got the 2x here, and I got the 1x here. C value sign's negative, so that means 1 positive, 1 negative. I don't know what is what yet. 12, well, you got 1 and 12. You got 2 and 6, and you got 3 and 4. So let's see here. I want to get a negative 5, and I got to multiply one of these numbers by 2. So probably 1 and 12 is out. All right, so then I can go ahead and I can try 2 and 6. So let's see here. If I put a positive 2 here and a negative 6 here, that gives me a negative 12. That gives me a positive 2, which gives me negative 10. That won't work. So let's switch them. Let's put a positive 6 here and negative 2 here. So that gives me negative 4, positive 6, which gives me positive 2. So that won't work. So let's try 3 and 4. Alright, so let's do a plus 3 and a minus 4. So let's see here. That gives me negative 8. That gives me positive 3, which gives me the negative 5. So there's my combination. Okay, let's take a look at 11. No GCF again here, number 11. So 5. The only factors of 5 are 5 and 1. C value sign is positive, so I know both my signs are my B values, so both are going to be negative. 10, well, you got 1 and 10, and we got 2 and 5. Now, what do we want to get? We want to get a negative 27. So let's think about this. If I multiply 5 by 1, or 5 times 10, that's not going to give me negative 27. But if I multiply 5 by 5, that will give me negative 25, which is close to negative 27. So I'll put the 5 here, the 2 here, and let's just make sure that gives me that. So negative 25, negative 2 does give me the negative 27. Good. All right, take a look at 12. GCF this time? Nope, still no GCF. other than 1. So I'm going to do my skeleton. 3x here, 1x here. C-value sign is positive. Both my signs are my b-value, so they're both going to be positive. 18, you got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Now remember, we want to get 29. So let's think about this. If I multiply 3 by 18, that's going to be way too big. But what happens if I multiply 3 by 9? 3 times 9 is 27, which is really close to 29. So I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to put the 2 here. That gives you 27. That gives you 2, which does give you 29. Good. All right, take a look at 13 here. We can take out the GCF, so we can take out a 6x. So then we're left with 2x squared minus x plus 3. Okay, so let's see if we continue that. So we got the 6x. Only factors of 2 are 1 and 2. C-value sign is positive, so both my signs have to be negative. The only factors of 3 are 1 and 3. So if I put the 1 here, the 3 here, that's going to give me a negative 6, negative 1, which gives me negative 7. Remember, I need to get a negative 1 because that's my b-value. So let's switch the 3 and the 1 here. That gives me negative 2. That gives me negative 3, which gives me negative 5. That doesn't work either. So therefore, this is the only thing I can do. I can only take out the GCF. And sometimes that's okay, because you still factored, because GCF stands for greatest common factor. All right, take a look at 14. We take out our GCF here. I can take out an 8x. So then I'm left with 2x squared plus 11x minus 6. All right, let's see if we can keep going. So I still have the 8x. I have a 2x here, 1x here. 6, well, you got 1 and 6, and you got 2 and 3. Remember, we want to get 11. Since my c-value sign is negative, I know one's positive, one's negative. So I know if I multiply 2 times 6, that's going to give me 12, which is really close to 11. So let's see if I put the plus 6 here, the minus 1 here. That gives me 12 minus 1, which gives me the negative 11. Boom. Got it. All right, and then last but not least, number 15, GCF. Nope, don't have one. So 3x here, 1x here. C-value sign is negative, so 1 positive, 1 negative. I don't know where they go yet. 18, you got 1 and 18. You got 2 and 9, and you got 3 and 8. Now remember, I got to multiply one of these by 3. So 3 times 18, that's going to be way too big. 3 times 9 gives you 27, which is really close to 25. So if I put the minus 9 here and the plus 2 here for this combination, that gives you negative 27. That gives you a positive 2, which gives you negative 25. So boom, there's my factors. All right, great job today. And that's it. So go and get going on your homework.